This is Doug with the Practicing Accountant Podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode today. Today we will be discussing how growing slow is the fast track to success. A bit of a contradiction. I'm sure you've heard the cliche that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Well, today we discuss both sides of that equation to determine what is best for your trajectory for your firm. We hope you'll enjoy this episode. I like to walk to work, right? Which is great. Good exercise, and it's a nice way to kind of clear your head. But there's like two clients that I have that I visit at their offices. One I have to drive to, and the other one is within walking distance. And so this afternoon, I decided to walk to that walking distance client. Everything was 85 and okay on the way there. And then 90 minutes later, I walked out into a rainstorm. So I got to enjoy a nice outdoor walk in the rain. Part of it was a jog. But the thing that makes me mad is I saw a neighbor like totally drive by me and like just kept on going. Didn't like turn around and be like, hey, man, you need a ride? Nothing. Just kept on driving. I'm going to remember that.
Do you have an umbrella, coat, anything?
No,
Just,
no.
Nice.
No.
That's
nothing.
fine. That's fine.
No, but I'm gonna get that neighbor back. I'm currently plotting what that's going to look like at some point.
Did he wave?
No,
I
nothing.
didn't see it.
No. There was a head swivel. There was a head swivel. So there was recognition there, and I'm sure
there's pretty unmistakable.
I mean, you see this guy in the street. I mean, it's one of two things. It's someone who's really out of place, or it's just Doug walking home again.
Yeah,
so
there's Easy Top is in town. One or the other.
Right. Totally. It could be that. Sleeping Bag. That's a good band. Hey, those guys still alive?
I think so. I saw him. I guess it's been about 10 years now, but I saw him here in Colorado.
Did you?
At some point, yeah. I think at Cheyenne Frontier Days, maybe.
Okay,
sure. No, that'd be in. What's the other one? Really Stampede. I think it's
okay. Some of those guys don't age well. I saw Phil Collins about I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tough to watch. Like Phil is not the Phil that I remember seeing. Like he came out basically in like a wheelchair. I mean, I'm not joking. Like I'm not making fun of the guy either, but I mean, he's just past his rockin' days. His kid played the drums instead of Phil. And that was one of the whole reasons I went there, is to see him play drums for In the Air Tonight. Right? Yeah. But no, I got to see his kid, which I mean, I guess it's still blood, but still. Some of those guys just need to throw in their hats and just say, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah. They always do this final tour every year.
There's always a final tour. Like Def Leppard's playing right now. Like
they had a final tour when I was in high school, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No, they're still going. And Journey. Journey's still going. They got, after Steve left, they got that guy from, I don't know, somewhere in Asia that sounds just like Steve. And he's been touring with them for the last decade. I saw Journey at Red Rocks with Hart, and it was a good show. You know, it was definitely sounded like Journey. Like there was no noticeable difference, but it definitely looks different.
just a little
Younger.
I've heard he's amazing.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. I mean, he sounds exactly. I mean, he just belts out those choruses. I mean, it's just amazing. Journey has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, same. I saw Journey and Def Leppard together at Red Rocks. Probably 2008, 2009, somewhere in there.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Cool. Yeah, it's fun.
That's a ticket to keep.
Yeah, no doubt.
I saw is that her name? What's her name? Tracy Chapman. I saw Tracy Chapman at Red Rocks, and even that was a good show. Not to knock on Tracy Chapman, but she only had like 1 or 2 songs you recognized, right?
Yeah.
It was Fast Car, and then there was the other one I can't remember right now. So, I saw her, and even that was like, wow, that was great.
No. Are you a classic rock guy, or what's your genre?
I will listen to anything. I'm trying to think if there's an except. Not really. I'll pretty much listen to anything.
Okay. No favorites? Nothing?
I have favorite bands, but I don't necessarily have favorite genre. Like I listen to different stuff every day, and I just kind of like being all over the place. But actually, I have different music for different things.
Sure. Yeah.
So if I'm walking, it's one thing. If I'm running, it's another. If I'm working, it's another. If I'm trying to get peace, it's another. If I'm in my garage, it's something else. Just depends on the location.
Yeah, that's fair. I like 90s things now that I'm almost 40, just
Yeah.
because it's so nostalgic and, brings back memories of, I don't know, the formative years, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Some debauchery that you were up to back then.
Yep. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
So
Yeah,
late
I was a good
90s.
kid until 94. And then after 94, things went downhill for about 3 or 4 years. And then uh, I think when I had kids is when I started to turn myself around again.
There you go. That'll do that
Well,
pretty quick.
we have something to talk about today.
Yep. Per usual.
Yes, we do. Growing slow is the fast track to success. I was going to have some fun, and I did. I went on to Chat GPT. I brought in the AI into our conversation today, and I said, give me a bunch of analogies that help reinforce the concept of growing slow is the fast track to success. And it came up with you're building a skyscraper, not a house of cards.
Mm.
You're cultivating a tree, not growing weeds. I like that one. I like that one. That one works for us.
Yep.
You're crafting a masterpiece, not rushing a sketch. You're cooking a slow cooked meal, not microwaving fast food. Training for a marathon, not a sprint. That one's been beaten to death. Building a brick wall, not a sandcastle. There was some more here. Let's see. Forging steel, not molding plastic. Aging wine, not brewing instant coffee. Building a puzzle, not cutting corners. Growing a garden, not buying cut flowers. Weaving a tapestry, not sewing a patch. Developing a photograph in the darkroom, not using a Polaroid. Training a bonsai, not growing a cactus. I think we could probably go on for a while here.
Let me throw something at this real quick.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think growing slow is bad or is the problem. You can grow fast, but there has to be a lot of intention behind it. I think it's growing unintentionally is more of a problem than growing fast. Like, what if you have everything dialed in, your niche, your service offering, your ideal client avatar, your systems, processes, everything's dialed in. What's the problem with growing fast if you have capacity?
Well, I think that's the catch, right? Like, I think there's a bunch of ways to look at this. Like, one, okay, so growing fast might imply that you're taking any work you possibly can to add more to the top line of your business. So it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter what they ask for, it doesn't matter whether it's convenient or whether you have capacity, you say yes. And that might be because you're hungry and you're trying to feed your family. And in that case, I'm not going to judge you.
Sure.
Or it might be you're already earning enough and you're just addicted to people pleasing, or you're not confident enough to stand by your laurels. And I think in that case, that's the fast track to failure, or to a lot of burnout and disengagement and pain. So I think growing fast, where you are being unintentional with what you are saying yes to and committing your firm and resources to, that does not lead to a positive ending. However, to your point, if you slow down and if you talk about who's my ideal client, what's my ideal offering, what's my best price, what's the package and services that I provide, how am I going to attract these folks in a systematic way? And then if you slow down to do that and then unleash that, then I think the growth can come faster because people are going to be able to find you easier. They're going to like you more, recognize you more, see you more as an expert. And next thing you know, you've got a line out the door and possibly a waiting list for clients to serve you. And then, you just got to know, to your point, where your capacity ends, and so that you can serve those clients well. But they're the right kind of clients in that case, in that scenario.
So slow down the inception or the planning phase or the initiation piece of that, so that you can grow faster eventually.
Slow down enough to be intentional.
Yeah.
Slow down enough to be proactive rather than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down enough to know what you want, what you're trying to build, who you're trying to serve, what you're trying to provide them. Like, I think I've talked to a firm today, big firm. Well, I don't know if it's big. Let's just say it's got like 10 partners and maybe 50 or so, maybe more employees. And they said it on the phone when I was talking to them. Well, first of all, the individuals that work at this firm the partners work in excess of 3,000 hours a year. One of them clocked 3,600 hours last year. Now, I don't know if you've ever worked over 3,000 hours before in a year, but that is painful. Not my point. My point was he was one of the partners was discussing the work that he was doing, and he said, every day it's new because someone calls us and asks us to do something we've never done before, and then we do it. And I hear that, and I'm trying to be cordial on the phone. I'm trying to get work, right? So I'm not going to say much in the moment. But that's going on. Like, someone calls, asks for something you've never done before, and you are so determined to grow, so determined to get that revenue, regardless of whether it makes sense to get it, you say yes. Now, could they figure it out? I'm sure they could, and I'm sure they did. But is there risk involved with that? Is that how you want to spend your billable hour? Are you saying yes to that and no to something else? Like, that's the kind of mentality, though, that the grow fast has, is it, oh, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. No, we don't even like this person or this work or this business. And they have horrible things all around them. And they're really don't have a lot of integrity, but we're growing fast. Let's do it. This is Doug with The Practicing Accountant. My apologies for interrupting this episode, but wanted to remind our viewers of our website at www.thepracticingaccountant.com, where you can learn more about us and what we do. And also, we hope that you entertain and accept our invitation to join our membership with The Practicing Accountant. Again, that's www.thepracticingaccountant.com. Now back to our episode. Like, that's what the slowing down prevents. I've talked about a firm before on this call, and I won't mention names, of course, but there's a firm I know of, and it's got a partner board. And whenever a new client comes in and the prospect is ready and wants to be served by this firm, they slow down. They wait till the next partner board meeting, which I think is like once a week. So it's not like it's once a month or anything. And that partner board unanimously must agree to taking on this new client.
You mentioned that.
Yeah. They have to all vote and say affirmative, yes, this makes sense for our firm. This is an area we want to grow in. This is something that we want to do and pursue. And included in that meeting is human resources to say, yes, we have resources to serve this, or we have capacity to serve this, or, we don't have the capacity right now. And so until I can confirm that we have those resources, I can't vote affirmatively to take on this client. And they're okay with that.
Yeah. Because there's intention behind it.
Mm-hmm, right. But they didn't do that at that meeting. They decided long time ago that that's how they're going to do it. That's the process that we're going to create for onboarding a client. And then it just becomes what they rinse and repeat along the way. So it might seem slower, but at the same time, it's going to get them where they want to go faster. But they're not going to be distracted by a bunch of crappy work they don't want. They're not going to be having to deal with clients that don't appreciate them. They're not going to have to be firing clients that they never should have brought on anyway, or keeping them around another year just to see if we can get them up to the B tier in client rating. But they slowed down, created intention so that they can move quicker from those decisions rather than just trying to figure it out along the way, having to unwind things that they shouldn't have done, and ultimately getting to a place that sucks.
And that's what puts you on this hamster wheel to begin with, is taking on all the work, saying yes to everything. Nothing's intentional, nothing's defined. And now you're too busy, you're working too many hours, you're probably not charging enough, so you're not making enough money. And it's because you said yes to everything because you wanted to grow too fast for growth's sake, not for profit's sake or for experience sake or whatever your sake is. It probably isn't simply revenue, because revenue is the wrong metric unless you want to tell people how much revenue your company is, which, I mean, great, but what's your profitability? What's your life at home like?
Yeah, there's other variables to consider. And I think this is probably the first time that you or I will consider this in the context of the practicing accountant, but there are good hamster wheels. There's the hamster wheel that we refer to, which is accountants doing the same thing wrong, again, year after year after year, which really means taking on whatever clients show up, not being intentional about, the type of work they're doing or the type of margins they're getting, to your point, but they just keep going around and growing and growing and growing, because if you're not growing, you're dying, apparently. But there's another hamster wheel, which is we built a really fun wheel. It's got some comfortable things to it. It's got some dips. It's got, it's really great clients on it. It's got hours that we can control. It's got systems that work. It's got onboarding that works. It's got offboarding that works. It's a great hamster wheel. Get on it, and you can go around it as long as you want to, because you're happy and you're content and you're not killing your staff or yourself. So there are other versions. And again, first time we've said it here, there are other versions of the hamster wheel that can work, but it's just the one that you and I see more often than not is the one that's broken, that's getting them nowhere. That's not allowing them a chance to really enjoy their lives in business, because they're working 3,600 hours a year. And that's wrong.
They're trying to make a tube city instead of a hamster wheel.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah.
Way more fun.
I never had a tube city. I've always seen those and kind of been interested in them. And
I don't either.
I
never had a hamster.
No? No hamsters in your house?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had it either. I think, although some have called my current dog a hamster. She's a 4-pound Yorkie. Yeah, there have been some individuals that have referred to my puppy as a hamster, which I take offense to, but I also understand the perspective in that.
Sure,
she is awfully small. She is a lap dog. She's a one-armed dog. She's a fit-in-your-pocket dog.
So I used to do a lot of competition shooting. My dad was a police officer, and he's trained, shooting for SWAT teams and things for regions.
Nice.
I benefited from that. And one of the sayings there is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So if you slow down, you get smoother, you get more intentional with your movement, and that actually speeds you up instead of this rushed sort of practice of getting things done and out the door and planned or lack thereof. So the more smooth you are, the more intentional you are, the faster you will end up going in the long run. And that's what you're after is what this looks like in the long run, not
smooth
next year.
Yeah. And exactly what you'd hoped it would be. And that's where I think a lot of accountants, if you polled them and said, are you where you would want to be in this career you have chosen, in this job you have chosen, if they really were honest, because they're going to say, oh yeah, it's exactly what I planned for. If they were really honest, I'm not even going to guess the percentages, but I'm going to say a lot of them, really aren't where they wanted this to go for them. And a lot of that is because they didn't slow down on the front end, or didn't take time each year just to slow down and say, where are we? Is this what we want to be doing? Is this need to change? But that slow, it's analogous to, the Eisenhower's box, the quadrant of important but not urgent. Those are slow things. Thinking about your business, thinking about strategy, thinking about your plan, creating your vision, looking at your model, looking at your pricing, looking at your services. Those are things that happen in slower times. And accountants, historically, they don't have a lot of slow time, because they don't create it, and they built a practice that doesn't allow for it. But I guess, at the end of the day, what's the call to action here? I think the call to action is to slow down, create a space of slow, to stand back and say, okay, for this, and we're right in the cusp of it. Well, we are always in the cusp of it, of what you're going to say yes to and no to in the coming months. And that conversation itself, and you can define that by, what kind of clients are we going to take on? What kind of ideal clients are we going to be looking for? What kind of pricing are we going to be promoting? I mean, one of the easiest things to do is say, we're not going to take clients under X amount of revenue.
Sure.
And I'm not going to take anything less than $2,000. Sorry, prospect. Love to work with you, but we're not taking anything less than $2,000 right now. I'm hearing that happen a lot right now because of the demand for accountants, and they honestly can't. They can't take on another small thing that they don't get but good realization or profit out of. They're holding out because it's available, the bigger pockets of work. But that in and of itself would be something you could slow down, decide to do, start implementing, and make it a better experience, smoother experience, to your point, and likely get you somewhere better than you're currently headed to become.
Yep, I agree. Like we talked about recently, it comes back to that vision. You have to have that vision to know what places to slow down at and get intentional about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
And I just that'd be my call to action. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to call to action here, but I think it would be, I could say, create your vision would be a great thing to slow down for. Create your ideal client would be a great thing to slow down for. Create your ideal experience working at your firm would be a great thing to slow down for. Slow down to figure out which clients you need to get rid of to make room for better ones would be a great thing to slow down for. There's a lot of, and each one of those things leads to a smoother experience in the firm that you have than the one you're having.
Right.
Yeah, I'm done.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast. We hope it helps in understanding some of the things you should check off your list before growing too fast. Things like the ideal client or your niche or your pricing or your package. All the things that are necessary to have a firm that you are proud of and enjoy so that you can move quickly forward with a better experience than you otherwise would have. Please like or share this episode. We hope you tune in again next time. But thank you today for watching very much.